So MyPay is a payments company really focusing around leveraging social networks and messaging channels to facilitate online and mobile-based payments from a person-to-person perspective, from a person-to-merchant perspective, but also from an international remittance perspective, all of which happening across the social networks and messaging platforms that you and I both know.
Okay, so where's your company based and where are your target markets?
So the company's based in Singapore, and our target markets at the moment are within Southeast Asia and within mainland Europe, continental Europe.
Are there cultural differences in those markets?
So there are cultural differences and there are some nuances that we need to manage. But I think the thing to remember is that people use social networks and messaging channels very heavily in the same way wherever they're based. The differences come where you look at how they conduct themselves with online payments, and there's a big difference in Europe because everybody has a payment method, whereas in Asia, in some countries, that's a challenge that we help solve with our products.
So what are the key areas that you actually work in? Remittances and so on. Explain to me what your key areas of operation are.
So the key areas of operation are a product that we have called RTP, Request to Pay, that allows somebody via social network and messaging channels who's shopping online, when they get to their shopping basket to check out, to request over those social networks for somebody else to pay on their behalf. So we facilitate that transaction over social networks and messaging transactions to allow the bank of mum and dad to now take place over social networks, but also in those countries and regions, particularly in Asia, where there is less card penetration or payment method penetration, for those people to request from their friends and family overseas via social networks, which is how they talk every day, for them to make those payments on their behalf. So we call that RTP.
Yeah, you gave us a very nice example of how it operated in the presentation. About your son.
Yeah, so my son's at university in New York. I regularly receive a phone call from him asking me to buy him a train ticket home, and various excuses as to why he no longer has the money to fund that himself. And in the old world, that involved me on the phone to him on my laptop, tapping away at the keys, which station, what time, when do you need to be back, etc. Whereas now with RTP, he goes online, chooses his ticket, populates his shopping basket, goes to checkout, hits the RTP button, Request to Pay button, chooses which social network he wants me to receive that message on. So WhatsApp is normally the case. I then instantly receive a WhatsApp message. Within it is a message from him, Dad, please pay again for my ticket, and a tokenized URL secure link that when I tap it takes me into his shopping basket he's already created, and I enter my own payment details on my Visa card and make that payment on his behalf. So he gets the ticket, I've paid for it, albeit I saved myself half an hour telephone conversation in the process.
So you do remittances. Oh, remittances. So tell me about remittances. So how does that work?
So we work with remittance companies predominantly in the Middle East and in Asia, and we implement our social platform into their existing mobile applications. And this allows for customers to send, request and receive money using the 24 social networks and messaging channels that we have integrated into our platform.
And do you have an example of that actually in operation?
I do, but I can't tell you the name of the company.
That's okay. And what else do you do?
So that's our primary focus at the moment, is leveraging the social networks. We're also building out a mobile payment infrastructure that also leverages social networks to allow customers to make physical payments and top up whilst out and about using their phone.
Now you're here on a platform alongside MySquare. What kind of relationship do you have with MySquare, and how does your system work on their platform?
So we don't have a linked platform at all. So MySquare have a platform that provides mobile gaming and the MyChat platform in Miramar. Our platform is a social media and messaging platform that is connected into those social media networks. So the only relationship that exists between MyPay and MySquare is a commercial agreement that MyPay has to be able to provide payment services to the several million users of MySquare products in Miramar.
And is this the normal way you're going to work going forward? Do you actually embed your technology into someone else's platform?
So we operate a white label product, so we will leverage other people's platforms, be it in Miramar across the MySquare platform or through payment services providers or wholesalers of alternative payment methods in Europe and further afield.
And you were talking about in your presentation about not having a banking license and actually working through wholesalers. Tell us a little bit about how that works.
So we facilitate a transaction across social media between two parties. We don't process the payment ourselves, we don't touch the money ourselves, we never see card payment details. What we allow is for that transaction to be communicated through social, but take place over the existing payment rails, be they Visa, MasterCard or others. And we do that because we're a small, relatively small company, taking a product to market quickly, and why try and fix what's not broken, and why burden yourself with legislative requirements when we don't need to.
So who owns MyPay and how are you funded?
So MyPay is owned by both institutional investors and high net worth individuals. We're a private company, so that list of shareholders and investors isn't public, but we're a private business with.
And you're here speaking to private retail investors tonight, so do you have plans in the future for going public in some shape or form?
So that's a plan that's always in our head, and clearly we are now implementing our product from a commercial perspective, signing contracts, realising real revenue. So I expect that's a likely outcome in the not too distant future.
And if we're all here together in 1 year's time, what do you think we'll be talking about?
So I think we'll be talking about how, through what I've learned today around blockchain and Bitcoin, I can see opportunity around how we can leverage that technology in the services that we provide. And it'll be interesting to show you some examples of that.
So you've learned something from tonight's session as well?
I have. It took a lot of concentration, but I have, yes.
Yes, Bitcoin and blockchain is not an easy thing to get your head around, is it?
No.
But you've got your head around it, you think?
I've got it around enough, I think.
You know someone who can get their head around it?
Yeah, I know enough to be dangerous.